and in terms that make sense to your business. It's definitely something that we're going to see more and more. Finally, and very quickly, I keep hearing when people talk about estimation of the testing effort and how much we depend on what development is doing and how many drops they're going to have, and how does the development life cycle is going to span out, in our timeline and as part of our strategic project plan. At the end of the day, what we cannot forget is that regardless of the dependencies, the estimates deal with 3 elements, not 2. It's not just about the effort that I need to put in to cover all my test cases, nor the number of people that I have available, but the level of quality that I'm expecting to produce. So unless I factor that into the equation, it's going to be very problematic to keep a specific schedule associated to that. So it's very important that the expectation of the amount of defects that we need to flush out of that specific product that's going to go to market is the same across the board. And I think I hand it back right now to Alex. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll take it from here. Thank you very much, Carla. Thank you very much, Dean, as well. I think you have set the stage so we can go into a little bit of more an open conversation. We have selected a few key issues that are related to the topic of testing, and in particular to the topic of testing a product software. So these are the 4 key issues that we're going to be focusing on the next 30 minutes or so. So first of all, let me also encourage everybody to send your questions. We're going to be addressing most of them during the conversation. I'm going to make sure that we try to introduce as many as possible, but if for some reason we cannot address those, well, we'll take those offline. So please use the Q&A box in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. So the 4 key issues that we selected for today are testing a software product versus testing an internal application. That's issue number 1. Issue number 2, it's the role of test automation. There's this perception in the industry that, well, the more automated your tests, the better and the most productive. So we want to hear your perspectives on that. Also, the considerations about outsourcing the testing function. What are the considerations, and probably we would like you to hear from Dean and also from Carla, the both sides of the equation on the outsourcing arrangement, and also governance metrics and productivity. So those are the 4 key issues that we selected for today. So let me jump into the first one, software products versus internal applications. And the first question is, what are the special considerations for testing a software product versus testing an internal business application? So, Dean, I don't know if you want to jump into that.
Absolutely. For us, a lot of the considerations are going to be exactly the same. However, the difference between testing a software product and testing an internal business app has to do with the exposure and the use of that application in a variety of scenarios in a variety of companies and organizations. So some of the things that are the same are obviously going to be commitment to quality, robustness of your test coverage, and then essentially just meeting your customer expectations. However, given the fact that internal business applications don't receive the kind of exposure that a software product will receive, and they don't compete in the marketplace for revenue or market share or analyst review, customer satisfaction, a software product has a broader requirement and simply a higher threshold for quality. And so some of those considerations may include that you have to do more performance or scale testing. You may have to test on a broader set of platforms, network topologies, or particular network configurations. You have to use real-world data. You can't you can't go in with just test data. You need to be able to have a testing lab and infrastructure to be able to test real-world types of situations. And interestingly enough, you sometimes have to conduct things like authorized and public betas. You need to communicate a lot broader about your quality metrics so that people can evaluate the benefits and characteristics of the product that you're providing, not only from a feature set, but also how that will integrate into the rest of their environment and how good quality that is. There's also some security types of considerations that are probably a little bit more stringent with a software product that is sold into the marketplace. And then certainly you have some compliance types of metrics, whether that is Sarbanes-Oxley or accessibility types of things or HIPAA types of things. Those are all part of the story or the difference between software products versus internal applications.
Okay. Carla, do you want to provide a complement to what Dean just mentioned?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Dean. I think that overall you still need to go through the motions when you're doing your test plan, when you're setting up your strategy. You have to define what types of testing. But overall, the expectation of someone that's going to pay for a specific product is much higher in terms of what the product should provide. And I think that one of the main things that I've come across is that as a QA manager, I put forth a strategy of testing that it's not just focused on finding the errors, but it's also attempting to measure the level of comfort and quality and overall usability of the application from the user perspective. I think that, as Dean mentioned, the beta side process is very helpful in that sense because you get feedback not only of the things that are wrong, but you get actual users from the real world telling you that the process you've implemented and the way it's implemented is not necessarily the best way to go about it. And in some cases, you may come back and redesign some of the elements of the application because once you put it to real use, it's not working as designed or as the user finds it more I guess more practical. Another element that I think it's very critical, besides taking that approach that it's not just about the bad stuff, but also validating the good stuff, it's that I find that it's a very dynamic world. When you design the testing plan for a specific customer, for example, Novell, I wouldn't be surprised if you have specific testing platforms and labs for some of your largest customers who have specific compatibility issues or you have specific usability requirements. And those are the challenges that you have to take into account when, for example, you're building an automation framework. Do I onboard the customers that I also know are extremely relevant to this product and not only are my customers, but that they also provide critical feedback into what the product needs to have towards the future. So I think that it's overall very, very dynamic, and we need to keep that in mind as QA managers when dealing with a product. And I think that it makes the whole system evolve very quickly.
Carla, you mentioned a couple of things that brought to mind to me other considerations. When you were testing for an internal business app, you also may not have the requirements of a global application that's being used in a variety of languages, geographies, locales, that have specific time-date format issues, that have specific character encoding problems, or have translation or localization types of things. And so that's another aspect